Hello and welcome to the Chatterbox Collective. This is where chatterboxes come to join together and talk too much too fast, all at once, and just really have no sense of direction. I'm making this little podcast for the homies. You guys are the only ones who will be listening to this. I literally just want a podcast to talk about whatever I want, and then I could just send it to you guys and you'd be like, oh, okay, that's what she's thinking about, right? And it is very hard for me to be a chatterbox over text because then I'm just disturbing the peace. Anyway, I wrote down some topics that I was thinking about to talk about that have just been on my mind. And at first I was like, okay, I'm going to wait until I get a mic or something, a setup. And I was explaining this to my friend Harmony, shout out Harmony, and she was like, you got a mic? You're so unserious. What? And I was just oh, my bad for trying to be a professional. My bad for having goals, bitch. I'm so sorry. But I just felt the audio quality is important because I want the homies to hear me, and really, feel me. So eventually I'll get a mic, but I'm in a chatterbox mood. Oh, brother, we got a chatterbox. That's how I feel right now. So I was okay, let me just do a test run and see how much I can talk, which in theory should not be so hard, but sometimes I don't know. That's why I have topics. Okay. The first one I would like to get into is me and Drake. Okay. Off the bat, I think about Drake at least once or twice a day, and I'm not exaggerating. And it's not in a way where I'm just oh my God, I love his music. I love this. I love that. I'm a Drake stan. Not quite. Love Drake. Love Aubrey. Obs. You have, my respect. But it's really the fact that me and Drake have what my friend described as an enemies to lovers pipeline. I loved Drake for a really long time when I was younger, and then he got buff and corny, and I was oh no, he's gonna be on the cob forever because these braids, everything, it's definitely a different vibe. He's just very that, right? So at first I was skeptical, because I really loved Degrassi Drake. That was my man. Even though he got shot, he was crippled. Not important, honestly. He really gave back then. He gave simp and soft boy, misunderstood, whatever. And then he started getting money, and then he kind of started being different. So I was ooh. But now he's just really got me back on the hook. I don't know what to say. Me and Drake would be best friends, literally, ever since he's been getting sassier and sassier. I don't know if you guys saw a video of him to that song that's what is that song? It's me and my twin in the club, we be handling, and his little shoulders, he is so delicate. I just can't. And I love him, and I really feel if we ever met, he would get me. We would see each other as water signs, and I would ignore his corn, and we would just live a happy life together, but not a couple. I'd rather actually die or light myself on fire, but just the thought, it's fun. He's so flirty. He's just for the girls. I can't stand him. Love him so much. Actually obsessed with him currently. Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. Me and Drake would definitely be best friends, but he would hate that I vape. And is it worth giving up vaping to be close to Drake? I don't know. You decide. You, the listener, decide. But I just briefly wanted to touch on that because I think about Drake really often these days, and I don't know if I'm the only one. Sound off in the comments, if you also think about Drake a good amount, and then I won't feel alone. The second thing I wanted to talk about was celebrity lives, people caring about celebrity lives and why I don't care. Okay? Because when celebrities break up, when they get into shit, when they're who fucking cares? And I don't know why more people don't feel this way. It's just maybe it's because we were programmed to give a fuck when we see Kylie and Timothée Chalamet kissing. Who actually cares though? Who actually cares? And I feel it's fun to entertain pop culture stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love that shit. I love Bimbo Summit vibes. I'm entertained. But when it comes to the actual lives of celebrities and being oh my God, I know Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner just got divorced, and people are like, I don't believe in love anymore. And I'm just like, okay, guys, but like, it's not that serious. Like, I feel like everyone is chronically online these days. Just the takes that you see on the internet are so blasphemous and wild. It's truly disturbing. It's truly concerning. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't care. Like, I'll be interested for 2 seconds. I'll be like, ooh, ooh, that's messy, that's shady, you know, whatever. And then like a second after, I'm like, that literally, like, what? I also still can't believe that paparazzi culture is like legal, like where we're getting all these little looks into people's lives and people like follow them and shit. Like, I feel like that's so embarrassing. Like, if my parent was a paparazzi person, I would never tell anyone. I would be like, he definitely works at FedEx, because why are you stalking people? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's fresh. And I feel like it's just perpetuating this cycle of like caring about other people's lives more than your own. I need everyone to get it together. Get a grip. Like, it's okay. We'll be fine. Next thing I wanted to touch on was that I'm learning how to play the electric guitar. Now, you may not care about this. This may not affect you at all. And that's okay. But when I am a rock star, when I'm a rock star, I don't want to hear anything, because no, I can't do much now, but I got a little down on the guitar. Like, I got a little dun, 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 like a beat, and it really be giving. Maybe I'll give you guys a sample at the end. I can show you a little something, but you can't laugh, okay? You literally can't laugh or judge, because it's fucking harder than it looks, okay? The guitar is really fucking hard to play. And an electric guitar at that, like, I really shot for the stars. But I named her Fiona. She's fucking adorable. I don't know how to describe a guitar. It's like colors and stuff, you know. Has strings. I've also been getting back into painting. These are 2 little hobbies that I've been trying to be committed to. I started painting again because I had 2 of my friends' birthdays come up, and one of the paintings, as she knows, it kind of got scratched out by red paint because I was salty at her for a while because she hurt my feelings. So I had to destroy her painting, but I'm gonna do it again because I'm generous. The generous queen, as Miss Evelyn. And then my other friend's birthday is this month, and I've been painting her something that I've really been liking. Like, I don't even know if I could part ways with it because it's very beautiful to me. But yeah, that's been a really good little time filler. I feel like I've been getting back into my artist bag. Not my artist bag, like I'm really an artist out here. No, but like I've been very much in tune with like music and art, and like I've been feeling more like connected to like my younger self who's kind of into those things. I've been like on a journey. It's my journey. Getting back to like things I enjoyed as a child and things that I used to do. And yeah, painting was definitely one of those things. Sometimes I can't muster up the strength, you know, the care, the will to paint, and that's okay. But I definitely feel better when I do like artsy stuff. So I'm trying to do that at least once a day. I want to start reading again. I heard about this book. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around, but I heard about this book on this Penn Badgley podcast. He has a podcast. I can't remember the name, but he had Victoria, I can't remember her last name, from You. He had her on. And I guess when they were filming You, she used to read this book called Scattered. Who was it by? Let me look, because it's in my Amazon cart. So I can tell you right now. But she used to read this book, and he was basically talking about how he felt like it affected her, like, in a deep way, where he always saw her with this book, and It's by Gabor Mate. I think that's how you say it. It's basically about ADD and ADHD, and about how kids with ADHD and ADD, or like any type of like disorder, struggle, whatever, like we're taught that we are a disruption to normal life. We're taught that we're a disruption to classes. We're a disruption in our home. Like there's very negative connotations associated with being hyperactive or, you know, whatever. Attention deficit disorder, the whole thing. Like there's a lot that people don't know. And they were talking about how when you get diagnosed with these things, depression, anything, you'll be like, what is depression? And then they'll name you off the symptoms. And then when you're like, okay, but why are the symptoms happening? They'll be like, oh, because you have depression. And it's like, that is not an explanation. Or like the same thing with like ADHD. They'll like, if you ask what ADHD is, they'll name off symptoms. But then when you say, why do I have ADHD, or what causes these symptoms, the only answer is ADHD. They're not giving you actually anything. And Victoria and Penn were talking about how like, it is the life that you've lived up until that point as a literal child that can play into these imbalances in your brain and things like that. And we're taught that we need to conform and like we need to take medication. We need to do what we can to sit still, to do this, to do that. And they were talking about how in reality, I can't remember verbatim, but basically what they were saying was like in reality, we're actually in such an inhumane world. Like we are all put into these, like when you go to public school, like no one is promoting an individualistic like mindset. Like, yes, individuality in the sense of like, do things for yourself, like make sure you're winning, make sure you're on point, and like less of a community mindset, which is also harmful, but also in the way that's like, they just want to raise these little children who will go out into the world and work the system and be willing to put jobs and things that they feel like define them ahead of themselves and their identity and their personality and things that they actually value. And I have not gotten too deep into the book, but I heard them talk about it on the podcast and I was like, that's so fucking interesting, because I think about how many of my family members or friends or whatever, like how many of us have been medicated, how many things have happened just because parents or teachers, whatever, they want to fix. They just want a quick fix and then they don't want to think about it again. But it's like, what if you're literally cramping my style? Like, what if you're killing my creativity and like who I am in my natural chemical stream of consciousness, I don't know, in my brain, because you just want a kid who will sit still, listen, be obedient, go out in the world, work, Anyways, when I get deeper into the book, I feel like I can unpack that better. But I just wanted to touch on that because I thought it was so interesting. And I don't know how I got here, but slay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was how I feel like me as a person would put a Victorian child into a coma. Like literally me alone, my thoughts, like anything I would say, I think would put a Victorian child into a coma. And I don't know what gives me that inkling, but the amount of times that my friends tell me that I'm not real or like I'm ridiculous or I'm so fucking unserious, I'm like, true, like so true. And I just don't know that me and a Victorian child would mesh. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, what would we talk about, Or even a Victorian, like, woman my age. Like, what would we talk about? I feel like I would come off as a big hater. And maybe that's okay. There's a reason the Victorians... Did they die out? Actually, I'm about to sound uneducated. Bro, wait, Victorian people? Let's Google this. Do Victorian people still exist? Oh my god. Ethel Lang, the last Victorian, has died, but Victorianism lives on. This was in 2015. It seems incredible that the last week there was still one of Victoria's subjects left alive. Who is Victoria? Oh, there's one last living person from the Victorian era. Wow. So they're kind of tired. So it really doesn't even matter what would put them in a coma because their opinion isn't important. Wow. Natural selection, man. It's a crazy thing. That sucks for the Victorians. Rest in peace, for real. But yeah, I just feel like me as a person, like if I ever met an Amish person, I feel like I would literally send them into cardiac arrest by just opening my mouth. But maybe that's a good thing. I'm different. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. Anyway, what is the next thing that I had on my list? honest, I wrote down, why is the energy in the air so peculiar lately? What is actually happening? And will everything be okay? Yes, this sounds a little bit existential, but I didn't mean it to sound like that. I literally just don't know what's going on at any given time. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but I never know what's going on anymore. I'm literally just showing up like like I wake up and like everything I do is from muscle memory, like truly from muscle memory, unless it's like something else that is not in my daily routine. But yeah, I feel like I have no idea what's happening anymore. And like anytime I hear something, I'm just like, what? Oh, word? Oh, okay. Like I just don't, maybe that's where it's stemming from, where I like don't care about things. Not that I ever really did, but also like, I don't know. There's just too much that goes on at any given second, it feels like. And it's like more every single day in the world, in people's lives, like even your friends or like people you're close to. It's just like, like I need to go away for like a month, like to Jamaica or something, and live my best fucking life. And then maybe I can last another 20 years. But the way it's looking, I don't know, man. I don't know. This day-to-day life shit is hard. I'm talking about normal things people do, like they go to work and they go to school, and I'm just like, I have to tap out. Like, but I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but it's hard when you know you're just a star. Like you have star power, and that doesn't mean I want to be in movies or like make music or be on TV, but like, you know, when you've got it, like you meet so many NPC non-playing ass characters like every single day. Like you bump into someone on the bus or on the train and they're just like, and you're like, wow, like where are you going? Like sometimes I just think that non-playing characters stay on the bus just to like fill the space, you know, like extras in a scene. Maybe that's dismissive because they're definitely their own people and I'm their side character technically, but I don't know. I just feel like they notice me and they love me even when they don't know it consciously. You know when you have that energy, when you step into the room. What did Britney Spears say? There's only two types of people in the world. The ones that entertain and the ones that observe. She ate that because that is literally so true. And if you're an observer, more power to you, honestly. Like kind of jealous. Like how does it feel to just blend into the background? And I mean that so respectfully, but I could be an NPC, but an NPC could never be me. And that's just all I'm trying to say about that. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I do know that I'm destined for literally greater. So sometimes in a day I'll have a mental breakdown because I'm like, literally, why do I have a regular job? Like I'm a star. What does Pearl say? I'm a star. Like literally, I think she spoke for everyone. Like she spoke for a lot of girlies when she said that, because like, good point. You're a star and I'm so sorry, babes. But yeah, I don't cope with it the way Pearl did. I actually just don't leave my bed, which is getting me so close to my goals. Trust me. Like, I know you're listening to this and you're like, perfect. Like, you're doing everything you can. And I know I'm not, but it feels like the world is literally on a standstill. And I hate to talk about COVID and bring up COVID because, like, ew, like, I mean, it's not in the past because people are still getting COVID, but like, God, what a weird time to be alive, you know? Like, I'm tired of living through history. I'm really good. I don't need to be here to be like a testimony to anything. Like, I'm really actually okay. Like, I want to live through really irrelevant times. I want to live in a world where like the biggest drama is like Jennifer Aniston and fucking, what's that nigga's name? I want to say Blake Lively, and that has nothing to do with what I'm thinking of. Who is Angelina Jolie's husband? Bro, Brad Pitt. I don't even know what I was saying now, but like, I want the biggest news to be like, oh my God, these celebrities reunited. Like, oh my God, it's going to be a blue moon and da 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 da. Like, love it. But nationwide pandemics, eek, not my vibe. Really not my vibe. Not my story, not my journey. And quite frankly, I'm I'm done with acknowledging what's going on in the world. I think it's important to have like a certain level of knowledge, but I hate when people are like, you don't know what's going on in the world. Oh my God, you're so disconnected from it. And I'm just like, okay, but guarantee I would be a more upset person if I did. Like, guarantee if I watched the news, I would literally jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. But y'all aren't worried about that because it's like the fucking social justice warrior Olympics these days. And like everyone has to be the wokest. And I don't care. Like, I know that I have a good understanding of consciousness and reality and the world that we live in. And I refuse to engage. And sue me. Like, fucking sue me. That all I want to do is get high and listen to Burna Boy and like lay on the beach. I'm just a fucking girl. And like, this is another thing. I'm going to touch on this really briefly because it's not super important. But when I say I'm just a girl, I hate when people are like, oh my God, don't say that. That's not an excuse. Okay. But like literally according to like all the religions, okay, not all the religions, but like American Christianity, like we were supposed to be naked walking around like a jungle or something, eating fruit and like just existing. And then I love how they tried to play the woman card and they're like, oh no, Eve ate the apple. I don't believe Eve ate the apple, bro. Why would she eat the apple just, like, if anyone was gonna just eat the apple without thinking, it would be a dumbass nigga, bro. You think a snake can't convince a man to eat an apple? Come on. You're telling me a woman would not be more inquisitive? I know she was just, like, created from his ribs or something. Like, maybe she didn't have a lot going on upstairs, but, like, I refuse to believe that she was fully responsible. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we were literally getting gaslit from day one. Like, the Bible, bro? The Bible is literally so politicky. Like, it's giving the shade room. Like, the Bible is just, like, a bunch of white men's opinions of history and, like, what happened. But I'm like, where's the proof? Like, where's the proof? And if there is proof and I'm just stupid, okay, period. But, like, the Bible is just so crazy to me. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around. But I respect people who are like, the Bible's real, da-da-da-da. But I'm like, aw. You know, I don't know. I don't want to say, hey, sheeple, because I could very well be the sheeple and I just wouldn't know. But people who are so, like, convinced that they know what's going on and everyone else is confused, they're lost, they're being misguided, they want our children. I'm like, okay. Okay, take a deep breath, like, take a hit, everything's gonna be okay. Like, do you want a shot? I just need everyone to pipe down. Like, not to take it back to Drake, but, like, I feel like that should be the new national anthem. Like, Pipe Down is literally a national treasure of a song. And I feel like more people need to tune in because these are things that they need to hear. Like, seriously. I think about this daily with some people I interact with. I'm like, how deep I gotta dig for you to pipe down all the things I've done up until right now. I need 1,000 pages just to write it out. Writing down these feelings, it's been overdue. Don't know how many pens it's gonna take to get over you. Oh, that nigga's such a simp. I love him. God, he gets me. He really does. I fucking love Drake. And I'm so salty I haven't been to the 21 and Drake concert because 21 is my motherfucking husband. And Drake is like my sister. Love him like a sister. That's my sister. And I've just really been missing out. And I'm not gonna lie, I've literally been sending bad energy towards everyone that I... Not literally, but kind of. Like, if it's a white person that I see who's going to the Drake 21 concert, I'm like, fuck you. Like, literally, fuck you. But, like, if it's my sisters and brothers, like, my girls, I'm like, okay, go. Like, slay, love it, whatever. White people going to the Drake 21, Beyonce concerts, and I can't go. Like, seriously, I'm cursing your fucking grandchildren to come. But that's a fucking problem for a later date. But it has been hard. I did see Beyonce one time for my 16th birthday. We were literally in the last row, like the last row of the Rose Bowl, I think it was. And I went with my bestie at the time, Alexis. Shout out Alexis. And yeah, it was iconic. It was the Lemonade tour. But being so far away, I don't know. It was still a vibe. I can't really remember because my entire childhood is blacked out. Who can relate? Woo! But yeah, the Renaissance tour looks amazing. I don't think it was amazing enough to spend my life savings, my first child, my left leg, but I do love seeing everyone enjoy it, and it seems very iconic. Definitely saltier about the Drake and 21 situation. I don't think the concerts are over yet, the tour. So we'll see. Sometimes I can finesse my way. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to go to the Drake and 21 concert. This is me manifesting it. Also, Lauryn Hill is going on tour, and that's coming up. I will literally sell a kidney for that. Like, straight up. Like, anything you guys want. You want my sister? Like, what do you want? I will give it to you just to give me Lauryn Hill tickets. And they're not even that expensive, so I'm really excited. That can be iconic. I'm just trying to give my fucking little brain things to focus on, to be excited about, things to look forward to. Yeah. I want to get back into concerts because I used to hate concerts, but it's because in high school, the only concerts I went to were general admission, where niggas are like mobbing and literally pushing you over and don't care if you die on the floor. So that was never my gig. That was never my thing. And I literally hated shit like that because I would feel like such a buzzkill for not wanting to be in the fucking pit, in the mosh. We finna be in the pit. But yeah, those are two that I'm really like, I must see them because it just seems iconic. What else? Oh, I put on my list to read off the thoughts I've had note that I made the other day. I do this often where I'll just be having a bunch of thoughts, or like my friend, wait, I'm definitely gonna have to cut that. Okay, my friend knows this too. If I feel like someone's mad at me or like I don't want to bother them or whatever, I will make a note, like a list on notes, and write down every thought that I've had that I haven't told them because I didn't want to bother them, or like just things that I thought in general, but like I didn't want to text it to anybody. It was just like a random thought, so I'll write them down. And I have several different notes of these, but this one is the most recent one. When did I make this? On the 3rd. So that was like, what, 3 days ago? Yeah. And there's only 5 thoughts on here, but I felt like it would be interesting to get a little look into my brain because these are 5 random things that I felt were worthy to write down, which is so random. Okay, 1. The first 2 are kind of connected. 1, the 80s was really the 20th century, like, whoa. That's literally what I wrote, and I stand by that because it's so crazy that the centuries don't line up with, like, the year. Like, that really doesn't make sense to me, and I'm sure someone will be like, oh my God, it's based off the Bible, something. That's dumb. Like, that's really dumb. Like, I feel like if we're in 2023, it should be the 23rd century. And that's just how I feel about it. And why are we basing things off Jesus? Respectfully, like, so respectfully, that doesn't sit right with me, to be honest. But who am I to say? Like, I didn't create time, unfortunately. If I did, it would make way more sense, or it just wouldn't exist, because what even is time? And if I think about that too much, I get freaked out. Like, what is a calendar? What is time? How do you know it's Monday? How do you know it's Tuesday? That really makes me feel so unsettled, but that's why I just don't think about things, because then I'll really start thinking, and nobody needs that. Truly, nobody needs that. The second one was there 50s nostalgia vibes in the 80s? I would like to hear, because I watched this documentary the other day that was talking about how there was I was literally watching BoJack Horseman. I just lied to try to make myself sound smarter, but I was not watching a documentary. I was watching BoJack Horseman, and he was talking about how, like, during the flashbacks when he's like on his old TV show horsing around, it's like set in the 80s, and he was talking about how there was a lot of 50s nostalgia in the 80s, and I just never thought about that. I didn't know that. So any 80s babies, sound off in the comments, let me know. Was there 50s nostalgia in the 80s? What did it look like? What was it giving? Also, I saw, what movie was that? Oh, Don't Worry Darling, where I think they're in like the 50s or 60s, right? Something like that. And like in that scene where they're in the mall and there's like women who like are in these little glass boxes and shit, and they're like, they have like the clothes on for the department store, or they're like using the vacuum from the department store, but they're like live mannequins. That is crazy to me. Like, I need to know if this was a real thing that was happening, because live mannequins is wild and kind of fucking hilarious. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the 80s. Third was Dan and Shay are signed by Scooter Braun. This is really random because I didn't even know who Dan and Shay were like a month ago, but my friend loves this one song of theirs, and so then she kind of put me on, and now I like the song. And then I was watching this video about Scooter Braun on, what is her name? Naomi Cannibal, I think that's her channel. I love her on YouTube, and she was talking about how Scooter Braun is like a fucking tycoon in the industry, and he like really was kind of, I don't know, like ruthless with teenage like clients for the last couple years. And she was naming off people who used to be signed to Scooter, and then people who are still signed to Scooter, post like the kind of fallout he had. And fucking Dan and Shay are still signed to Scooter Braun. So interesting. I don't know what that really says about them, but that's kind of sus and kind of crazy because it doesn't sound like he's a good person, but I'm sure they can't help it. Still love you guys, my gay dads. The fourth thing on my list was Penn Badgley has a 14-year-old. This was literally debunked because when he said it with so much confidence. I was like, when the fuck did you give birth when you were like 22? Weren't you on Gossip Girl? I was so lost. But he has a stepchild, so that's been debunked. But through him talking about his kids, because he has another kid now, who's like a toddler, I realized I kind of want to smash Penn Badgley. And my friend instantly judged me for this. Like, she was like, what do you mean? Like, you're clearly going crazy, you're demented. But I'm like, there's something about him, and I literally felt attracted to him only watching him interact with Victoria, whatever her name is. Like, only seeing them talk together, I was like, wait. But like, when I just see him on his own and his scruffiness, I'm just like, okay, Dan Humphrey, like, nobody cares. But yeah, he kind of sparked my interest randomly, and so I just had to write that down. I did have another one of these lists, if I can find it. Oh, I found it. This was from, let's see, August 7th. Fun, and there's a couple on here. We'll just do this to close out the segment, but I'm going to read a few things off. If it resonates with you, amazing. This is like a tarot card reading, okay? And just take what resonates and leave the rest. 1, sativa makes me horny. I don't know if anyone else feels this way. It's pretty crazy, but I've noticed that significantly with sativa over indica. Number 2, I used to love Frosted Flakes. I tried them again, and I still love them. Frosted Flakes literally stand up for me. Like, they're a standout cereal to the end of time. Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Lucky Charms, and Honey Nut Cheerios cannot be fucked with. Like, I don't care what you have to say. Cereal's so good. And I saw this post the other day about this girl saying one day she stopped eating cereal and never went back. And I'm like, okay, cool for you. I fucking love cereal, and I don't feel bad about it, okay? Like, it was a big part of my childhood, and it's like comfort, and I love it. But I try to eat better cereals now, because as a kid, my favorite cereal was Fruity Pebbles, and that shit's probably made of like fucking deer calves and crazy fucking processed shit. So I try not to eat those anymore, but yeah. Oh my gosh, I figured out a new ramen recipe for at-home ramen, because they have tonkatsu ramen, like instant ramen at 7-Eleven and at the grocery stores. And tonkatsu ramen is my favorite fucking like store ramen. It tastes like miso, and I put in sun-dried tomato oil, boiled eggs, drenched in pepper, avocado, hoisin sauce, fish sauce, soy sauce, and American cheese. And it is so damn good. So damn good. Just a random thought that I had, but yeah, love that. I wrote Channing Tatum was overhyped but is still sexy. That's so true. That's so true. I think about Channing Tatum not a lot as much as I used to when I was like a teenager, and he was like Magic Mike, and I was like, but like, he still holds up for me. Like, I don't know, I just think he's sexy. Yeah. And then the last thing I wrote was, it's insane how many things I know about a bunch of random Hollywood people against my will. And I just think that's so true. Like, the things that I've learned about Blueface and Krishan over the last, 6 months, against my fucking will. Literally, bro, I'm about to stop Blueface myself. Like, let me get a few shots into me. I'm stopping Blueface myself, because I don't need to hear about this anymore. I'm over the shit. That nigga is aggy as hell. And Blueface, please don't come for me. Like, you have to stand on, please. From beige to beige, just listen to me. Sit down, pipe down, it's literally okay. Like, why are you like that? I think he's an Aquarius. Not that that's an excuse, but like, yeah, don't fuck with Aquarius like that for that reason. Because why do you act like this? But really, that's just all men. Yeah. I feel like that's literally all I had to say. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think that's all I had to say. And this is just a little test run to see if I can actually talk for a certain amount of time. So I don't know how long this is. But when I get a mic on Friday and I can be a real, true professional for the homies and you guys can get this good quality, we'll see how you feel, you know? I would, I don't know why I just said that. I have nothing else to say. Anyway, thank you for coming to the Chatterbox Collective. This was a blast in a glass, truly. I'm gonna go get fucking high and watch movies about World War II because for some reason that's something I'm into right now. And yeah, so love you guys forever. Love you like a sister, Lilas. And I'll catch you on the flip when I have my money up and my quality up. Okay? Love you.